Hey, 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 hey. All right. Well,
What's up,
see,
guys?
you're already shaking your head. Welcome to
Uh,
the Hoops Rehab Show. We come in here live after the Warriors and Lakers game. It's the game injury doc, aka Dr. Evan Jeffries, and my co-host Eric B. Mack. Man, how
what's
you
up,
feeling, my
guys?
dude? How you feeling?
Uh, not feeling well at all. It felt like obviously it's just one game in the loss column, but it felt like a two game or three gamer for some reason.
Yeah,
It There's obviously a lot of implications. There's standings, which affect seedings, honestly, and then just a little bit of a morale kind of shot against a really solid team that's been playing
yeah,
amazing basketball for some time now.
yeah,
They had a little bit of a lull, but if you realize it was when Curry was out. He had that injury.
yeah,
And so, I mean, we'll go through like the record, obviously, with Jimmy Butler and the starting five that they have now, but it
Woo.
was not pretty. It was one of those games that I was pretty much never in doubt. Of course, you always hoped that Lakers would make a little run, and of course, they made a little cute run at the end to get it down to 5 to 7 points, which I
You
knew it was
know
going to
that.
happen.
You
I
know
knew it was going
that.
to happen, but a little bit too late. Too many 3 pointers. Just one of those games, man. Like it was so
Yeah.
frantic, and I think the Lakers have met their match in terms of opponents. Like this team, I know it's one game, and I know if it becomes a series, there'd be a lot of adjustments. But man,
Yep.
this team is scary. The Warriors, that is.
Yeah, man. That small ball team, and especially since they got Jimmy, they're 20-4 since they got Jimmy, which is already
Wow.
ridiculous. They're 19-2 with Steph and Jimmy together when they play, and they're 13-0 with this new starting lineup. I mean, that tells you everything you need to know about this small ball Warriors team.
Yep.
Reminded me when they had Andre Iguodala and they went small ball against the Cleveland Cavs. They are wreaking havoc with this team. They can switch from 1 to 5. They can get from 1 to 5. They can shoot the three. Jimmy doesn't even have to play much. He doesn't even have to play his normal game with his rotation right now. And when he does need to get a bucket, he goes straight into the post. He's got. I mean, when I saw Gabe Vincent out there on him, I mean, he put him in the post and put him in a little spin and easy shot over him. It was like easy cash money for him. Obviously giving up 22 to Pozinski pods in the first half is just not ideal to try to win a important game. That was a big, just that first half in general was just kind of like brought their momentum down. You could see the Lakers' spirits were gone. Um, I would say this was by far probably Luka's worst game
Oh,
offensively.
he was bad. He was
Uh,
bad tonight.
I think he was 0 for 6 for 3, right? I don't think he made one. Yeah, 0 for 6.
Yep. 0 for 6. Yeah.
So 0 for 6 from 3. He was overall 6 for 17 from the field goal from anywhere. Just not a good game overall for him. He looked a little slow, looked a little sluggish. I know he had a little wrap on his elbow pre-game and underneath his compression sleeve tonight. I don't think that's much excuse because you're shooting with your right hand anyways. So
Yeah.
even if it was bothering him, his game was just off in general. So yeah, just to me, they a little too late towards the end, especially with AR because AR really didn't have anything going until the end of the third and the fourth quarter where he was able to hit a bunch of threes. LeBron finally had a pretty big game. He had 35, I
Mm-hmm.
believe.
Yep.
So
33.
that was 33, sorry. That was big to have him back. But at the same time, I mean, I'll say this right now. Do you want to know the total bench points tonight? All right, don't
Yeah.
even look. Don't even look.
I
What
don't
would
even
you say it
want.
was? Not hard to guess.
Yeah, I
Seven. Seven bench points.
for the Lakers
Two from
7. I
Finney
mean,
Smith,
felt like
two
it.
for Vanderbilt, three from Gabe Vincent. And if you're not getting anything off your bench, that's just it's not going to get it done in a big game like this.
Yeah. I mean, you there's a lot to discuss and a lot to
Yeah,
dive into, and you spoke a lot about it. And I want to start with Jimmy Butler. You're right.
Yeah,
Like first 3 quarters, I was paying attention to him defensively, and he's such a pest, man. Like
yeah,
he
man.
may not be putting up just the stats, and I have to see his final numbers. Right, 11 points, 4 rebounds. He's not like stuffing the stat sheet, but he was
Yep.
just in every lane. He was just all up in the grill of AR, Luka, whoever was like running by the lane. He kind
Yeah,
of give him a little like a little shoulder shrug, just making it real difficult. And then what I thought was like the biggest turning point of the game. Lakers were down 8. They were on a little bit of a run. I want to say 7, 8 minutes left in the game. DFS, this wide open three, like
yep,
he could have nailed it. Like took it down to 5. Of course, he
yep,
freaking misses it. He was just awful. He made 6 3-pointers last Monday, right? Which
yeah,
is a total
yep.
not never gonna happen again.
Yeah, him
Um,
and Gabe Vincent, they both
that's
had
right.
20 that night, right?
And that's just not going to happen often. And so
Yeah,
what ends up happening is he misses a wide open 3, which it happens, but it was just a momentum killer. Jimmy
yeah,
Butler hits a 3 on the next possession. So
yeah,
from 8 could have been to 5, but it was actually 11.
yeah,
And so those are those big moments that you really like look back and you're like, damn, like what could have been.
yeah,
And yeah, going back to Luka, like yes, he had the elbow was sore. Obviously, we would prefer him not to have a sore elbow, even though it's not
yeah,
a shooting elbow.
yep,
But yeah, he did not have a good game. I don't, that's not a big surprise. Obviously,
yeah,
it was a surprise, but it's not earth-shattering news. I think everybody that watched saw that, and so
yeah,
we're obviously frustrated. It's really disappointing. A loss is a loss. I guess no matter how it comes, even if Lakers were up the whole game and they lost it, it
yeah,
would have been terrible. But the thing that, like, look, if I was to say, you know what, Warriors just outshot them, shot the lights out from 3, which they did, but
yeah,
they made 19 to the Lakers 18. Turnovers. Lakers had 10 turnovers. Warriors had 13. So not much difference there. Free
yep,
throws. 26 for 31 for the Warriors, 20 for 23. So not much of a difference there. Now, Brandon Przemski, that was probably an outlier. He's not going to have a huge game like
no,
that,
yeah, yeah,
but somebody else may. And so
yeah,
that's the scary part about that 13-0 starting lineup is they all can
yeah,
shoot the ball. And
yeah,
I don't know, man. They're just it's going to be it's tough if the Lakers face them, which we'll get into a little later in the
yeah,
playoffs.
yep,
It's going to be it could be I don't know about to say it's going to say a long series, but maybe just a bunch of long games for us fans to watch because
yeah,
that was not
sure.
pretty, man.
Yeah, I mean, I want to kind of go over just that starting lineup and the Lakers starting lineup, right? So you
Yeah,
got Steph, Pazinski, Jimmy, Moody, and Draymond, right? So you're going switching to every position at Maxford, and then you got for the Lakers, you got Rui, Reeves, LeBron, Luka, and Jackson Hayes, right? So automatically, Jackson Hayes becomes a liability in this lineup. Number one, Draymond pretty much takes advantage of him down low. Even though Jackson Hayes should be bigger, he's just stronger than him, right? Hayes' ability to switch on these like shorter, quicker guards is just he gives them too much space, right? And another thing too is I was looking at like the Lakers on offense, and they were just hiding Steph on Rui, right? So like for the most part, Rui's going to sit in the corner, going to be
yeah,
ready for the open three. He did in the fourth quarter kind of start cutting a little bit more, get into the post a little bit, which you would need to do against if you got Steph Curry on you. But they're able to easily hide Steph on Rui, and it's not even close to being an issue, right? So then that
yeah.
puts Jimmy on LeBron, right? And that's going to be that matchup. And Moody is guarding Luka, which is a bunch of height for Luka. Moody's super athletic. He's similar in that build of like a Finney Smith, right? But obviously he's not at the caliber of defensive ability at this point. But he's similar in that athletic ability and how he can cover. And then Draymond's basically just roaming the field. He's always going to play that kind of defensive back, that safety, and he doesn't really have to worry about Jackson Hayes much, right? So I think automatically you're already out of liability there. Then let's flip it. Let's put Golden State on offense. What was Steph Curry doing all night? Looking for the screener to get Luka or
Yep.
AR, or Rui, right? Those are like three matchups that he loved the most, right? So if he can get any of those three matchups on the screen, it's pretty much over and lights out.
And that's three out of the five guys. So it's
Yeah,
like,
that's three out of your five. And I feel like even when he gets LeBron on him, like LeBron does a much better job on Curry. He just kind of shows quicker against Curry. Doesn't give him as much space. If he gets Jackson Hayes on him, it's over. You put
oh
Jackson
yeah,
Hayes on an island, it's over. Right. So I thought the Lakers were a little late in getting to Finney Smith in that lineup and just kind of and matching up with the small ball. I think that's eventually what they're going to have to do. Just kind of go with Finney Smith. I did like the couple minutes of a Goodwin, like in the fourth quarter. I just felt like he was able to get to Curry a little bit, which I think might be, if this was like a playoff series, you might kind of see that towards second, third game if they figure that out, that maybe Goodwin can kind of get on Steph for like 10, 15 minutes a game there. Vanderbilt, I still think he can get on Steph, but again, he's just been a liability on offense. And again, he got 13 minutes tonight, right? So you would think he would be able to go in and be that five and play against Draymond. But again, 13 minutes is nothing out there. So I don't know. Those are my thoughts kind of on the starting lineup and kind of what I'm seeing out there and what that Warrior small ball lineup can do.
yeah. No, this is some great thoughts and points. And I was thinking this is probably like since the AD trade, Hayes is probably worst game that I've seen him.
Mm-hmm.
And he obviously doesn't always put up the greatest numbers, but
Yeah.
it kind of tells you this plus minus thing is sometimes not really accurate because he was a +3 tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but you can kind of see it with the naked eye that it was a struggle with him out there offensively. What I'd love to see maybe in another wrinkle, as you can see, Dalton Connect didn't play any minutes, but
No
they
minutes.
need his shooting in this kind of series.
Yeah.
I say series, I'm just assuming they're going to play in a series.
Yeah, I was about to.
They honestly, like, I know there's that whole defensive thing, but they got to match up a little bit with those three ball, because even though I get it, Warriors made 19, Lakers made 18. A lot of them were down the stretch when the game was over, I felt.
Yeah.
And so you could probably look at that and be like, hey, they went, mano a mano with that. But I think he could be key.
Yeah.
We'll have to see, obviously. But yeah, some good points. Like, I think going to DFS a little sooner before Warriors build that 10, 12-point lead would have been key. But yeah, man, I mean, just if it was a series, they'd go to game 2. I'm sure they'd see some adjustments.
Yeah, you'd be able to make adjustments on have a 2 days off or a day off or whatnot in between and be able to make those adjustments. But yeah, that point with Connect, right? He's got to stay ready because we're going to come to a point where we're going to have some matchup issues and we're going to have to turn to him for 5 or 10 minutes and he's got to be ready to kind of hit that three, kind of get some momentum in the swing. Because in that second quarter, honestly, after 5 minutes in that game where the Lakers started off really hot, they just got so cold. Like couldn't make a basket, turning the ball over, and like stuff like that is like where you want to stop that like momentum by the Warriors, and you might need somebody to hit a spurt, right? So Connect's got to stay ready. He might get his name called at some point to kind of bring some of that offense there.
Yeah, absolutely. Tough all around. Obviously, you got to turn the page. Got another one tomorrow, which they must win. It's a must win, obviously, because with that schedule they got coming up, which we'll obviously get into the standings and things. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, just to put a bow on this game before we get into the next topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, they obviously, if they see him another time, they'll have to play better. Luka will have to be Luka. Maybe some, think about tweaking maybe the starting lineup in this case. Got to go completely small, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, there's always those thoughts, right? Do you match up with them or just use your lineup like how you've been using your lineup, right? So that's always an issue. I mean,
that AD though, that's the thing. But yeah,
yes, that's 100% correct. So there are times where you're going to be like, all right, who are we really having in the lineup right now, right? Do you want to try to play like the Warriors or do you want to try to play like the Lakers? So
Right.
those are questions,
True.
right? And I don't think you need to panic completely when it comes to that. I just think when you see a momentum shift, there's got to be a quick leash with that, right? So there's like, all right, we're not matching up well. Let's get some other guys in the lineup, try to match up with what the Warriors are bringing. Also, just think Kuminga off the bench tonight, especially in that second half, was a problem. Like
Big time.
I know he goes his ups and downs, but his size, I mean, he looks just so much bigger than what
18.
he's listed at.
Yeah.
His ability to catch the ball in the post and just kind of score, or his ability to hit some jumpers and hit a three, and just be long and athletic on defense is a problem, right? And if that's your sixth man coming off the bench, that's a pretty good option right there, right? Because I mean, him in our six man coming off the bench, either whatever you go with Finney Smith or you go with Gabe Vincent, that can be a matchup nightmare for the Lakers kind of moving forward there. So we're going to
Yep.
have to figure out a way to kind of match up with everybody and go back to the drawing board with this one, right? I think they had a game plan and they just didn't really kind of match all night, and they tried a late kind of run there, but it just couldn't really get to anywhere close in the game at the end.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely made a little
Yeah,
run, which is
yeah,
obviously good to see. But
yeah.
yeah, Kuminga, and I think I read that he came back again against the Lakers, right? He'd been out,
Yeah.
or of course, right?
I
Or did
want to
he?
say he's back the game before.
Oh, okay,
But
okay.
yeah, that
I
that's
thought I
another
saw.
one. Let's just double check that, but I'm pretty positive. If he came back this game, I'll just lose it.
I
I
know.
think he came back the game before, if I'm correct.
Okay.
Yeah, he was
Okay.
back. He's been back for a little bit actually.
I'll
So
give him a pass. I'll
yeah,
give him a pass for
you give him a
that
little
one.
pass on that one. Okay.
Yeah. So, but with that loss,
Yeah.
and we haven't obviously been on the last couple of days, and there's been a lot of crazy basketball. That
Yeah.
Minnesota and Denver
That
game, double
was
OT the other night was
a hell of a
insane.
game. Yeah, that was a hell of a game, and it just shows you like we're getting down to playoff basketball,
Yep.
right? Denver, they've had their ups and downs in the year,
Mm-hmm.
but they're still got that bad man at center, right? I mean, he's getting 60, 10, and 10. Um, easy work for him. He's just pretty much unguardable, and he also can just controls the game too. So we got to always watch out for Denver, and then Minnesota's coming. Yeah, they've been playing super well the last month or two in the season. You always got a player if you have a superstar, a young superstar like Anthony Edwards, you always have a chance, right? And
Oh
so
yeah.
they're trying to figure out their rhythm. They finally understand how they play with Julius Randle, how they play with Dante. They're starting to get physical. You guys kind of saw that matchup with the Pistons, kind of getting a little bit of skirmish there. So Minnesota's not going to be an easy out either, right? So there's going to be some good teams out there fighting in the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's what I kind of wanted to talk about. I was
Yeah, let's,
kind of going back and forth in my head. So, yeah, their first round is going to be tough regardless. And so
yeah,
at first I was thinking it was between four teams: Memphis, Minnesota, Clippers, this Warriors team.
yeah.
But looking at the standings now, you got to throw Denver there too. So there's probably most likely, I mean, unless the Lakers fall to the seven, I guess they could be, you can throw Houston in there, but
Yeah.
in reality, there's probably five teams that they will most likely face in the first round.
First round, yeah.
And I thought it'd be kind of neat to maybe rank. We can each rank who we'd like to see. Maybe start with who we would not want to see,
Yeah.
down to who
Number
we want
one.
to see,
Yep.
something like that. And I'd be interested to see what your thoughts are with those five teams.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll go first, and I'll
All
go with my
right.
top. So for me, the worst matchup in the playoffs, especially the first round, is another than the Warriors that we played tonight. Like, I do not want to be playing Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and these rest of these young Warriors in the first round. I mean, does the NBA want it? Probably. They might want it in the later rounds, though, because that's such a star-studded matchup. But the Warriors are a problem right now. They're just one of the hottest teams in the NBA. So anytime you got the hottest team in the NBA, to me, that is going to be a problem kind of moving forward there. And then if I were to get into the next team, I really just don't want to see right now, that'd be Denver. I mean, Denver has knocked us out last 2 years, right? If just anytime you're matching up with Joker, you got Mike Malone who makes really good adjustments during games, especially just second halves and just in general, like from game to game in a series. He does a tremendous job of that. I don't want to see him in the first round. I mean, that would be kind of a nightmare scenario to face either the Warriors or Denver. And then after that, I would kind of be okay with the rest of the teams. But my number 3 team that I wouldn't want to face right now is Minnesota. I think Minnesota with Anthony Edwards, their ability to match up with size and then also just have some superstar talent there will be a tough out. But I would rank them in that 3rd position. I wouldn't really be like I would be more confident facing Minnesota than I would obviously with the Warriors in Denver. But to me, they've won 7 out of 3, won 4 in a row. I mean, they're 7-3 last 10 games and won 4 in a row. So they're definitely on the up and coming towards this playoff race. And then for me to kind of round out that top 5, I'm going to put Memphis at 4. I think again, Ja, just that sheer talent of Ja. Memphis' ability to kind of just play at a pretty high speed. I mean, they average a ton of points, right? The only thing I'm kind of like would be happy about playing them would be is like they just don't have a coach. I mean, I know they hired their interim, they have an interim coach right now, but they don't have their main coach. So going into the playoffs against a team that doesn't really have their main coach, I think that's probably okay. And then if we had to put a 5th team, I'll put those Clippers right there. I ain't worried about the Clippers. Okay, I'll just simply say that. If we had to match up to the Clippers, I know we got Kawhi. I know we got a couple other guys on the team, Zubac and all that stuff. I mean, Harden as well. But I just don't think the Lakers are losing to the Clippers in the first round of the playoffs.
What about if we threw Houston in there? Would that rank before Golden State and Denver, or would that?
I've already said 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 teams that I wouldn't want to play. And if we wanted to put a 6th team in there, those Houston Rockets can get in there.
As well.
I just don't think there'll be much of a problem. I know they're a good team, and they are the 2nd seed. So no disrespect to the Rockets there. Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
I know we already talked about if somehow Warriors fall to the 7 and they played the Rockets, how that would look. But it'd be just as bad.
Yeah.
So mine, it's interesting. Mine's like similar in some ways, but different in others. So I had a tough time like thinking of, because Denver obviously knocked us out 2 years in a row. So it feels weird putting Denver not at the 5 out of those 5, but I got to agree with you putting the Warriors. I think it's interesting because I think with the former Laker team, it was like the opposite where they matched up better against Golden State because of AD.
Yeah.
And now I feel like in a way they match up better against Denver. Not saying that they would be easy or anything like that. So I would, without getting too much into it, because you pretty much hit the nail on the head. But yeah, I go Warriors 5, Nuggets 4. I really actually want to put Clippers 3. I don't know what it is, but just kind of nervous about that team. The only thing that's kind of keeping me from putting them at the 3 and probably putting Minnesota is that LeBron James doesn't have to get on an airplane during that series.
Okay. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's not no travel. Obviously, it used to be better because it's
Yeah.
I mean, well, same arena, but I mean, as
Yeah.
far as their drive from home, it's probably not much different. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I think I would have to put. I was kind of gonna say Warriors at the. I'm sorry, Wolves at the 3, but because of the not much travel and not having to fly to Minnesota and back, right, for a first round,
Yeah.
it's almost like playing an
Yeah.
East Coast team. I know they, first class everything. They got their own charter plane, and I get all that
Yeah.
stuff, but
But
it doesn't. It matters.
travel is huge. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially for an aging LeBron.
So that kind of makes me flip the script. And then Minnesota for all the reasons you said. And honestly, if I had to choose someone right now, if you're like Eric, choose a seeding. I would say, please, Lakers get the 3, Memphis gets the 6. Obviously, 2-7 would be nice too. I think I would take the Grizzlies all day.
Yeah. That'll
Not
be the
saying it'd be
easiest matchup.
easy,
Yep.
but I think that would be the most less taxing of a matchup. So if Lakers are fortunate to beat them,
Yeah.
they'd have something left in the tank for round 2. I just think those other teams, I think Lakers could probably have a good shot and maybe make it a long series against Warriors in Denver, maybe possibly beat them. But I think it would affect their rest of the playoffs because it'd be taxing. But yeah, those are my 5. I mean, nonetheless, it's going to be tough. Like the Wild Wild West, it's crazy.
I mean, when you look at just 2 through 8, it's kind of insane. But when you just look at 3 through 8, it's separated by what, 2.5 games.
Yep.
3 through 8, right? So I mean, there's no guarantee the Lakers are getting the 4 seed. There's no guarantee the Lakers are going to get the 3rd seed, right?
No.
So we really have to you want to say they're not going to fall out of the play-in into the play-in because we have some advantages with some of the tiebreakers and all that stuff. But when you look at the play-in, Minnesota's at the 7, and they're 1.5 games back from the Lakers.
Oh yeah, I mean
right?
this loss was big. It was a lot of implications because with that schedule coming up, man, I swear at first I was thinking it's going to be a top 4 seed, but it is not guaranteed. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, and we all know what Eric B. Mack has already told us about the top 3 seeds in the playoffs.
I didn't want to bring it up, but I got to.
And we can say it every show until we get to the playoffs, but we all know what does that top 3 seed mean in the playoffs.
Guys, there's been 78 NBA champions. 76 of them, that's a 7-6, have been a top 3 seed. So if you're a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you ain't winning a championship. You ain't the Houston Rockets of 95 or the Boston Celtics of 69. So that being said, Lakers, you got some work to do.
Yeah, I think that's what it boils down to. You got the Pelicans tomorrow, which is obviously a back-to-back, which is it's not fun to have to play a back-to-back, but I mean you have to win that game.
You don't want to mess around with that game. We'll get into what we think in terms of who they're going to be playing and stuff. But man, I don't know, man.
You can't mess with that game and come out of there with a loss. I'm unsure if Rui will be playing tomorrow. He has not played back-to-backs since coming back. So he had a great game. He looked a lot better than he's looked in the past as far as kind of his spring and his ability to jump and some of the athletic stuff that he was doing prior. So that's a positive sign. I just don't know if they are willing to play him in back-to-backs right now. And then you also got to look at LeBron. I mean, he had 33 tonight, but does he play in the back-to-back against the Pelicans? And if you take those 2 out and kind of just roll with Luka and AR, you can probably get it done. However, this is just the end of the season, importance of the end of the season, and at that point you just have to get a win no matter what. This is they're going to have another back-to-back, right? OKC and actually that's the back-to-back with OKC and then going to Dallas, the Luka return, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
That's going to be man. After the Pelicans, that back-to-back OKC, and then a back-to-back night to play OKC and then Dallas. That's gonna
I
be
know.
tough, man. That's gonna be a tough one that the Lakers will have to, um, I'll definitely have to get that Pelicans game and then and see what they can get against OKC. But yeah, going back to Denver, there's got to be a lot of motions going there. There's got to be AD's going to want to prove why he's still the man and why he was traded. And Luka's going to try to prove something too. So we'll see how that matchup's going to be. What do you think about that matchup moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, just like obviously getting tomorrow, then we got the two big games at OKC, and then at that homecoming, so to speak, for Luka.
Yeah.
I think I'm assuming he's going to play that game, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what like this loss did. I mean, again, like the loss was a win. They could have lost, on Monday and then won today, and it would have been, I guess, just similar in terms of like standings wise.
Yeah.
But or like they obviously would have had the same record, but
Yeah.
And again, remember, I think I've reviewed. Obviously, Lakers own a lot of pretty much all the tiebreakers.
Tiebreakers,
nice.
Yeah.
But you win tomorrow, right? And you have to win one of those against OKC. Then you got to win. I mean, they got 6 games left, right? They got to go 5-1.
Yeah.
5-1, I think, gets you a good chance at a 3 seed.
Yeah. If you go 5-1, that should seal up the 3 seed. Even a 4-2 should be pretty close.
4 and up, 4 seed probably.
Yeah, you go 500 and that 3-3. Yeah, you can wrap it up, and you're probably either a 4, 5, or 6 seed there. But yeah, we'll see, man. There's gonna be huge 6 games to kind of end the season with, right? That Rockets matchup too, right after playing the Mavs, will be huge. And then it looks like we'll have something to play for against the Portland, right? So we're gonna have to play that game. I highly doubt it'll be a game where it doesn't matter. At this point, with everything being so close, and you know how it is playing at Portland. Everybody knows.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter what team they have, but playing at Portland has always been difficult. And then you're looking at like a Sunday 12:30 game at Portland.
Mm-hmm.
Like none of that sounds good for the Lakers as far as time and where they're playing. So yeah, these next 6 games are going to be super difficult. But you got to go either 5-1 or 4-2 to really solidify your chances in this playoffs, especially the Lakers. Like as far as what we care about for the Lakers is winning chips. So if you want to put yourself in that position to win a chip, you got to go handle business and be 5-1 or 4-2 in these next 6 games.
Yeah, I mean that's the goal. Obviously, 4-2. I feel it just depends on what other teams do.
Yeah.
If they were to go 4-2, that means they would be 50-32. And for example, teams like the Grizzlies, Timberwolves, and Clippers, it would be impossible for them to catch the Lakers. But that would, if the Warriors went out and Lakers go 4-2, the Warriors would actually jump the Lakers. And then Warriors do. Minnesota just has like an easy cakewalk schedule, so they may win out. But Warriors, they do got Denver tomorrow night. It'll be interesting to see after a tough game against the Lakers.
Yeah,
they do play.
Oh, so at least they play each other. Yeah,
so one of them will lose, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of them will win, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they play Houston on Sunday at home. It's weird because you probably want, I don't know, like you needed Houston to lose another game.
Yeah.
If you have somewhat hopes for them. Honestly, number 2 seed is like probably a pipe dream.
Yeah.
But you want more losses for teams so you can kind of like climb those standings. And then the Warriors play at Phoenix. That shouldn't be a problem. And they finish off against San Antonio, Portland, and then versus Clippers last game of the year will be a tough one because that could be for some type of seeding.
Yeah, so the West is stacked, man. Like everybody's schedule, everybody's teams are playing each other, got validated out for these playoff spots. So it's going to be a good one in these last 6 games, man.
Yeah,
All right. So, for the most part, this game at least we escaped with any major injuries. We had that LeBron scare,
oh
kind
my
of
gosh,
LeBron go down, and
we were texting each other.
at first when I saw him get hit, like I'm like, is it his knee or is it not? But then you kind of see the elbow kind of go into his abdomen midsection. Kind of got the wind knocked out of him, so able to kind of get out of that game injury free with everybody, which is good to see. But just kind of moving around the league, we got, I think you heard about Joel Embiid yesterday. He's going to undergo surgery, or was it today that they announced that? So, to me, I always want to be optimistic with players. However, this will be his second surgery on his left knee in the last 14 months. He's also had a prior he tore his meniscus and never kind of like had surgery like back before this. So he's actually had like three kind
Right.
of injuries to his knee. And you can see all season that he was hobbling. He was not the same Joel Embiid. You knew that it was probably going to wind up having surgery at some point. The worry for me is it seems from all the reports that they're just going to go in there and do like an arthroscopic cleanup job. So that means, again, that's more than likely more of what we call like a meniscectomy. So they're just removing layers, pieces of the meniscus
Gotcha.
instead of actually sewing it back and repairing it. So I mean, I personally don't know the state of his knee. I obviously haven't seen any of his imaging, but just based on them doing a procedure like that it's just a time thing, man. So
Yeah,
the
seems
more you
worrisome.
the more you take out of the meniscus, the less you have to support the knee joint when you're landing and pounding, right? So eventually it leads to arthritis because you just don't have as much meniscus, you don't have as much cartilage in there. And so you eventually you start to have more pain, more discomfort, right? The more you kind of trim away at the meniscus there. So unless we kind of hear that they did a meniscus repair, which would means they're trying to save the meniscus and kind of sew it back together, that will be the difference in kind of his rehab, right? So if he had a meniscus repair, you're looking at more like that 4 to 6 month kind of range. If he has a meniscectomy, you're looking at that like 6 to 8 week kind of mark where he can probably resume basketball activities. But just overall, with the injuries that
Dang,
he's
wow.
had, the weight that he carries, I'm a little worried kind of moving forward with his knee and hoping that he can get back to being the same player that he was, a year or 2 years ago. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, man. No, I like obviously not knowing about his knee at all and not being the best to judge it. I mean, it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
I've never seen a player just have so many knee injuries and then get this, magical procedure and he comes
Yeah.
back and it's
Yeah.
just like as if it never happened. Like I
Yeah.
think it's something that's gonna probably hurt him the rest of his career. I hope that he can maybe like this team can somehow get like through at least one season with the squad.
Yeah. I mean, they
Um,
didn't even have a chance this year.
like
Yeah.
semi-injury free just to see what they got. Obviously, like if he does do the procedure you spoke about, that could be the 6 months. I mean, geez, if it's 6 months, that's already kind of getting into like training camp and
Yeah.
the beginning of
Yeah.
the season. And so,
Yeah.
but I mean, if this smaller procedure is not gonna fix it, then
Yeah.
it's like they may just have to go and do it. And obviously, his doctors will make that decision. But
Yeah. Yeah. You're looking
sad
at
though.
short term versus long term, right?
Yeah,
So they want him back early. They go the short term version, which they've already done. They want the
yeah,
long term version to see if this knee can actually be repaired and be able to be fixed like in that way. Then they go the long term route. But it's also the healthy part of the tissue. Like, is it healthy enough to repair?
right.
So
I
you
gotcha.
don't know that until you kind of go under the knife and kind of see it that way. So it sucks to see, but um, and some positive news, I've heard Damian Lillard has a chance to return
Oh wow,
with the blood clot. So that's
great
some
news.
interesting news. I saw Shams kind of go on NBA Today or Shams kind of talk about Damian Lillard that he's doing well being on the blood thinner. It sounds to me, based on what they're saying, is that the
One
blood
second,
clot.
dog.
What? Yeah. Go
You
ahead.
can get what?
The blood clot was more than likely a smaller clot, right? So it's able to dissolve a little faster than, say, somebody that has like the DVT or a deep vein thrombosis that might be a little bit bigger. I think he might be having some difficulties. Like, say, Victor is having more difficulties because it was a bigger clot, right?
Oh, okay.
So it sounds like it was a smaller version of a clot, and it's dissolving better. It sounds like it's still kind of there, but it's based on when they do an ultrasound, it seems like it's been dissolving a little bit faster than they anticipated. So it looks like he might be cleared in a week or two to kind of resume some basketball activities, and that would be
Wow.
a huge kind of update on Damian Lillard and kind of for the Milwaukee Bucks, who have been trying to put together a little run here to kind of get a little closer, better seed in this playoffs here. Because Giannis, do you see what he did? You see what Giannis did tonight?
Oh, they play the Sixers, right?
Oh yeah, but did you you see his little stat line?
Let me take a look right now. Ooh,
Yeah. Take a look at that. So he became the first
damn,
player.
35, 20, and 17. Woo,
Yeah,
what a game.
Again, first player to ever have 35, 20, and 17. So
Damn.
or it might have been, that might be a caveat with Wilt Chamberlain, because Wilt's
Yeah.
in pretty much every stat, but I'm pretty sure I heard he became the first player to kind of have that stat line right there.
Damn.
So Giannis is always going to be tough out in the playoffs, especially in the first round. Especially a healthy Giannis. He's kind of gone into the last couple playoffs kind of banged up and injured. So that's why they've kind of gone out. So a healthy Giannis team playing, like right now they're at a 5, playing like an Indiana team, and you get Dame back, that's going to be a little bit of a problem for Indiana there. So that's good news on the Milwaukee front. We got a little nervous with Anthony Edwards tonight when he was trying to hit a corner 3. And he got tripped up by one of the Nets assistant coaches and turned his left ankle. Looked pretty bad. He didn't get up for a long time and had to be helped to the locker room. But he was able to make it back tonight and kind of lead his team to a victory. So good thing for Anthony Edwards. Didn't look too major with that injury. You always want to see if he has any swelling pain the next day. But for the most part, he was able to return and probably had that ankle taped. But as far as injuries, that seems to be the majority of them. If you guys have any questions, please leave some comments below on either Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube, and we'll try to get to them in the next, towards the last segment and everything like that. So
yeah,
let
guys,
us know.
really appreciate you guys watching, and I know you're kind of venting with us out there as well.
Yep.
And maybe you're happy if you're a non-Laker fan or Laker hater and you're pissed off like us. But thank you so much for the support. And again, ask away if you have any questions. That obviously Doc just covered some of those injuries, and definitely some good news about Dame, because I'll be honest, I thought Damian Lillard was done for the year at least.
Yeah, that was my first thought, because typically,
that's awesome.
You're typically on a blood thinner for 3 months. So I'm not sure where he stands or when he started the blood thinner. We don't know all the details, but to be able to be cleared in a week or two from it, that means the blood clot is pretty much dissolved. So that would be some very, very good news for Milwaukee Bucks fans and Damian Lillard.
Absolutely.
All right, man. So looks like we're getting into most improved player of the season.
And I know.
Do you think your boy Austin Reeves could be in that category there?
I should have worn my vote for Austin Reeves T-shirt.
Okay. Well, let me hear your reasoning for Austin Reeves, and I'll kind of give you mine for a couple other players there.
I think numbers-wise alone, he's definitely improved. I think obviously for us, like watching his growth over the last few years. And I know it's like kind of a year-to-year type of, I guess, award, last year versus this year. Yeah. But I think last year he was like, he basically went from this guy cannot be your third best player to is he the third best option in the NBA in one season? that would be my
Yeah, that's true.
key,
Yeah,
right? So you cannot win consistently with Austin Reeves being your third option to
yeah,
is he the best third option out there?
yeah,
So I think that alone, plus obviously numbers, points per game and just
yeah,
his growth in pretty much all assets of the game
yeah,
is up there. And obviously, I know there's some guys you're going to go over, and I know
yeah.
I think Vegas has Reeves. I think maybe number three. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I'll give you just in general what I see. I looked at kind of I think it was MGM bets online of who are the favorites right now, and you got number
Yeah,
one is Dyson Daniels from Atlanta, who's basically been playing, having a hell of a year playing defense, and also
yeah,
has definitely improved his offense ability. Then
guess so.
You got Cade Cunningham, second best odds. You got Christian Braun, who's obviously gone into a starting role once KCP left from Denver. You got Tyler Hero, who went to become an All Star this year, pretty much, especially with Jimmy left and everything like that. And then you got Evan Mobley, right, who just consistently has improved his game. That seemed
Yeah.
like those are the top odds for the MGM bet. I mean, I'll give you mine. I mean,
Mm.
I think it's sometimes hard to put people like this because they're a higher draft pick and everything like that. But what what Cade Cunningham has done for the Detroit Pistons this year is just remarkable. I mean,
Yeah.
number one, they've tripled the win total, which has never been done in NBA history. So they went from 14 wins to over 40 plus wins, right?
Yeah.
He's gone from he averaged about 22 points last year, but on a 14 win team, it really didn't matter. He's gone to 25.7 this year. His assists are up from 7.5 to 9.2. His rebounds are up from 4.3 to 6.1. And he also made the All Star team this year. So, in my opinion,
True.
like when you put wins, you put taking a horrible Detroit Pistons team that really didn't change much of their lineup as far as like adding any. They didn't add an All Star. They added like Tobias Harris. Didn't really add like any significant pieces, and just changing that culture and being able to lead his team to what the record is and to the playoffs this year. I definitely would put Cade as my top most improved player there. Um, and then just in general, what JB Bickerstaff has done with that team is made a hell of a difference.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably going to win Coach of the Year, I would imagine.
Yeah, yeah,
And yeah, no, I mean, I think you can't go wrong with a lot of those guys. I think um, Dyson Daniels or Cade are probably going to win it, one of those
yeah,
two. And they're kind of like different scales. One is just really come out of nowhere, and the other was obviously a
yeah,
number one pick, and
yeah,
he's been a little injury prone. And
yeah.
I think sometimes somebody finally having a healthy season does
Yep.
sometimes give that. I was trying to see who won it last year. It looks like
Tyrese Maxey, I
Tyrese
believe.
Maxey.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
so
did.
like, so it can be a pretty good player, right? And he just took his
Yeah,
game to another level last year, Maxey.
he did.
Um, so I think Cade is going to take that one home. I mean, yeah, I love what Austin Reeves has done this year. He's definitely proven that he is one of the best third options on a team, and probably in reality could be a number two on a team, pretty much every team in the league, right? He's just number three because you got a guy named Luka Doncic and LeBron
Mm-hmm.
James. Like we're
Right.
talking about, like, oh, Austin Reeves is number three, but on any other team, he's probably a number two, right? So Austin Reeves has done a hell of a job this year.
Oh yeah, no, he's up there. I hope he at least gets like a top five because
Yeah,
um, obviously it's a media vote and whatnot, and we'll see.
yeah,
It's kind of his name has been thrown out there a little bit late to the party.
for sure.
I think JJ said something about that recently, but yeah, I'm still gonna be a homer and hope that he wins it, and obviously I'll still support any decision that it comes out, but should be interesting to
100%.
see.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so we'll
yeah.
see what happens. But I know we touched a little bit about it, but
We did.
about the Lakers, and I guess I can just do a quick standings update, which we did a
Yep.
little, but
Yeah, we'll just kind of let everybody know where we stand right now.
yeah. So Rockets are in a pretty good place. They're pretty much 3 games in the loss column. Geez, I didn't realize that. Damn, 3 games in the loss column ahead of everybody else.
Yeah.
So they do have some tough opponents, don't get me wrong, but they're probably feeling pretty good about that 2 seed.
Yeah.
I thought with Lakers beating them on Monday, it'd be a good chance, but I think Lakers have to get tonight. Unless somehow Lakers win both against OKC, but I don't know about that. It would be very surprised. But honestly, I'll take, if you told me 1-1 right now, I would take it in 2 seconds.
Yeah. Man, they've won 11 in a row, so we'll see.
But Rockets do play. Ooh, can I tell you the Rockets last 5 games actually?
Like I said, go ahead and let the people know what their last 5 games are.
Oklahoma City.
Yes.
Golden State.
Why don't we just go through? Name it, and then I'll tell you if it's a loss or win.
Oklahoma City.
Loss.
Golden State.
Loss.
At Clippers.
Loss.
At Lakers.
Loss.
Home against Denver.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
Are they about to go on?
Okay, I'll give them 1. So 1 and 4.
Right.
I mean,
we got to give them some respect.
That. Wow.
Maybe at Clippers. I mean, you never know. OKC tomorrow.
Yeah, man, do they go 1 and 4 in that stretch? 2 and 3 at the best.
If they go 1 and 4 and Lakers go 5 and 1, then
we have the tiebreaker over them.
Yeah. So so I'm just doing the math. If they go 1 and 4, they would be 51.
31 losses. 31 losses.
Yeah, they'd have 31 losses. So Lakers, yeah. So Lakers would have to go
tie them.
So
1 and 4 for them, and then 5 and 1 for us, or no? Wait, no. Yeah.
Yeah. See, yeah.
Okay. So it's still gonna be tough, but I do think that Rockets schedule is, oh man, that's got to be the toughest one left for sure.
Yeah.
And then I think this all boils down to, does OKC rest anybody in these last 5 to 6 games? When they play the Rockets, when they play the Lakers on a back-to-back, do they rest anybody? I don't know. I mean, they don't. It looks like momentum-wise, they don't want to rest anybody, and they might just wait to like the last 2 games or so.
Yeah.
To really rest anybody, because I don't think they're going to start resting people this early.
No.
But they are up so many games that it's just like they might start resting, like staggering it. Rest one or 2 players here, 1 or 2 players there, and then kind of get into the playoffs that way, just so they don't fully are not fully tanking that rest against these teams here.
Yeah, I mean, they got 64 wins, so I don't know if 70 wins is important for them, or because if they go 6-0, they get that 70. Not that many teams have done that. But I don't think that's
right.
You're right. And then also like home court throughout the playoffs, they're 3 games ahead of Cleveland, so they probably will try to get a couple more wins, and then maybe like I said, the last 2 or 3, the Lakers may have. I don't know if they cut it like. It may have been a game or 2 too soon that they're playing them, because they still have a few games after that. But we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, well, it's we'll see. We'll have to see on Sunday and Tuesday. But yeah, so obviously OKC, which we've gone over at 1, Houston 2, and then that 3 to 8, honestly, is 2 games in the loss column. And so, I mean, the Clippers are the 8 right now. They play home and home against – no, not a home and home. Dallas plays 2 in LA, I think Friday, Saturday.
Yep.
So I'm sure, I don't know, tough. I mean, maybe AD plays – obviously will play one of them. I don't know if he'll play back-to-back.
Yep.
And so, yeah, like we've been seeing every night, it's flip-flopping. And
every day it's going to change, right? And then just kind of looking at the East, obviously the 1 and 2 is pretty much solidified there, Cleveland and Boston. The Knicks seem to have a pretty much a hold on that 3rd seed over Indiana. And then it really, and in Indiana, it looks like it's going to be at that 4 too. So between the 5th and 6th, they'll be fine. And then you kind of got whether or not we're interchanging Milwaukee and Detroit between a 5 and a 6. And like I said, to me, New York matching up Detroit, I wouldn't want to be matching up against Detroit in the first round if I'm New York, right? So that's going to be interesting, right? Let's see if these little young bad boys, younger version here, will actually be able to do anything in the playoffs. But I do think, I don't know if they win a series, but I do think they make a series very, very difficult and make it like a six game series, 7 game series type of first round. So I think that's going to be a pretty tough matchup for anybody that gets Detroit in the first round.
Yeah, I see him like maybe against Indiana they could beat, and then maybe against New York they could too. Yeah. But I see maybe that going 7, and then depending on health and all that. But yeah, East obviously the top 2 are sealed up. Knicks are pretty much the 3, right? And then we got that wonderful play-in with the Bulls against the Heat, and then the Hawks against the Magic. But
oh god,
yeah,
we'll talk about Miami and Chicago.
I know this ain't the 90s.
Atlanta and Orlando. Oh man, no, I can't deal with those players. I'm just talking about those top 6 right now. But yeah, this is the NBA, so anything can happen there. But yeah, it's gonna be a hell of a last 5 to 6 games here. We'll be jumping on tomorrow after the Laker game, so I kind of talk Lakers, talk NBA, talk everything. Let's see, try to get to some of these comments if we see any. Let's see, Matthew Harvey, bench was awful. Okay, yeah, that was 7. Lakers bench was pretty bad. That's kind of what we were talking about before.
7 points.
Yeah. Let's see, Cam Miller, hello from New York. Well, what's up, New York? What's going on, Cam? Let us know when you got some questions. And he likes the Nuggets. So Cam Miller said, "Let's go Nuggets." So he's a Nugget fan. So Cam, when you're on the next show, just get some questions for us for your Nuggets.
Just don't let that Westbrook carry the load.
Yep. All right, so that'll probably wrap it up for today. Good show here. Talking about the Lakers, even though it was a bad loss. But we dove into the NBA, dove into some injuries, and we're always going to be kind of bringing you the truth here on the Hoops Rehab team, Hoops Rehab Show. But yeah, let's do it again tomorrow.
All right, guys.
All right.
Gotta get a win tomorrow. Peace.
Peace.